If you like bouillabaisse, if you like cioppino, if you like any kind of seafood soup, I think you're gonna love this South American inspired seafood soup. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with a little bit of olive oil, a little more than a tablespoon, right in my pan. And I'm not using my range behind me because it's not good to be able to video there. So I'm just using an induction burner right here on the side. Once I get that oil in there, I'm going to turn up my heat a little bit. Now I'm going to put in two things. I'm going to put in a large chopped onion and a large chopped red pepper. And no worries, I'm going to show you all about them in just a moment. So here goes my red pepper. And when I put this in, I do want you to notice that it's the same size as my onion. Now, when recipes tell you to make things the same size, they're not doing that because they want you to be the next Iron Chef. What they're doing is they want you to they want you to have the same size so things will cook evenly. So while that is cooking down, what I'm going to do is show you how to cut a red pepper. So here's a red pepper just like you buy at the grocery store or the farmer's market. Our goal with chopping vegetables or slicing or cutting vegetables is always to make them flat on the board so they don't rock and roll, you don't hurt yourself. So I'm going to do that by doing this. I'm going to take the top of my pepper off and set it aside, and then I'm going to take the bottom and set it aside. And I'm going to turn my onions and peppers down just a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is take my knife and make a slit on the side. I did it in front so you could see it. And now I'm going to just open up my pepper. And this way I can take out all the guts, the slimy stuff and the seeds out of the middle of the pepper. And it's much easier to chop it now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pepper and I'm just going to cut off about 1/3 of that long strip of pepper. And then what I'm going to do is just take my pepper and cut it in strips. And now I can just hold it together and then I can just walk my knife right through the pepper, just like that. And now I have chopped pepper. That's how easy it is. So you don't have to worry about the round and rolling and everything like that. Don't murder your peppers because, gosh, I've seen so many home cooks do that. So you can just do that for the long strip on your pepper. And I'm going to show you the top and the bottom after I stir this up a little bit. Onions and peppers, how good does that smell? Yummy. And I'm going to turn it back up just a little bit. So it should take about 5 minutes for these peppers and onions to soften. I've got mine on high heat, so they're going to soften a little bit quicker. So of course you never want to lose your top or your bottom of your pepper. So I just want to show you that I do the same thing with this. I just cut it in strips and then take my strips and just go right through them. This way you're not worrying about trying to take the seeds out while you've got it, trying to cut it. So there's my bottom of my pepper. And then last but not least, I'm going to pop the stem out of the top and do the exact same thing. Just cut it in strips and then cut it one more time to make, so I won't do the whole thing, I'll just give you the idea, to make little chopped pieces that are about the same size as the other pieces. So that's how you chop a red pepper, or green pepper, or yellow pepper. That's kind of silly. All right, so there we go. So there is my pepper, and I'm going to check out my onions and peppers, and since I've been doing it over quite high heat, they're pretty much ready to go. So my next step is to put in my coconut milk, and I'm going to tell you about coconut milk in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my coconut milk, and then I'm going to put in some oregano and smoked paprika. So I'll tell you about that. The oregano is going to give it a kind of a green and savory flavor. And the smoked paprika, if you're not using smoked paprika now is the time to start using it because it can give you a real umami flavor. The umami is the Japanese word for richness or deliciousness. If you ever heard the Kikkoman commercial, they're always talking about umami and soy sauce. It's found in things like soy sauce, in mushrooms, in meat, and things like that. So last but not least, I'm gonna put in my salt. So I'm gonna put some salt in, and I'm always gonna check at the end to see if I need more salt. And then I've got my freshly ground black pepper, and this is my favorite pepper grinder because it really produces the pepper without a lot of effort. So there's my pepper, and I'll put that back right there. And I'm gonna stir this for just a moment. So what I'm looking for this to do is come up to just barely a boil, and then I'm gonna turn it down and let it simmer for a little bit. Okay, oh my gosh, it smells so good. Now you don't think about coconut milk and South America, or at least I didn't until I went to South America and Central America, and I also have some favorite restaurants that are South American style. And you know, coconuts are one of those things that are used all over the world and just used in different kinds of cuisines. So here we go. Here is, it's come up to a simmer. And again, I'm cooking it a little bit faster than you will at home, just so I can show you on the video. So next up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in our tomatoes. So here goes the tomatoes right in there, and I'm going to tell you about the tomatoes. And these tomatoes are from a company called Muir Glen. They happen to be organic, and they're delicious. I'm going to put a little bit of my coconut milk in there and get all the goodness out. They're delicious. I think they're the best canned tomatoes out there. They come in fire roasted, they come in regular. I like the fire roasted tomatoes because if I'm not using fresh tomatoes, I want to grab all the goodness I can get from the canned tomatoes, and I find that fire roasted do that. So there goes my tomatoes in there. You can find these in the regular grocery store or at Whole Foods. They do come with no salt as well, and they have a brand that has chili peppers in it too. So all I'm trying to do is get this warm, and yes, it is warm because I can see the bubbles on it. So now I'm going to talk fish with you. Okay, I have two kinds of fish and shrimp here. And basically it's about 3 pounds of seafood. It could be 2 pounds if you prefer. But 3 pounds is just perfect because you're going to have a really fishy soup. The 3 kinds of fish that I have, first of all, that's going in is a wild-caught mahi-mahi. Now, I have no problem with buying and using frozen fish because as I've gotten more into the fish world and learning more about fish, I realize that a lot of the boats that they catch fish on actually have freezers on the boats. So sometimes the frozen fish is going to be fresher than fresh fish. And you know, sometimes fresh fish isn't really fresh. It just looks fresh. In the fish department of the grocery store, they get it in frozen and they defrost it. Of course, I love wild-caught fish, but wild-caught fish, when it's fresh, is only in season for a certain amount of time, just like vegetables and fruit. So I scored some wild-caught monkfish the other day, and so what I have done here is cut it in about the same size, and these are about between 1 and 2 inch pieces of fish. They don't have to be perfectly beautiful. In fact, with monkfish, that's hard because if you ever worked with it, it's not as easy to put it in chunks. But monkfish is called the poor man's lobster, and the reason it is because it has that same texture as lobster. I'm going to grab a towel right here, and I see I need to wipe my board and I need to wipe my hands too. And then last but not least, the third kind of fish I have here, or shellfish, because that's what it is shrimp. So this is wild caught tiger shrimp. It was large, but you know, when you go to the store to buy fish or shellfish or absolutely anything, you always want to work with what looks the best. This looked the best, so it was large, so I cut it in half lengthwise, so you can kind of see here, and I did take off the tail, and these were deveined. So I'm going to put this in there now, and believe it or not, since we put it into the hot soup, it's only going to take 3 to 5 minutes to really get this fish cooked, and you don't want to cook it too much. You don't want to make it rubbery. Oh my gosh, I wish you could smell what it smells like in here right now, because it smells divine. It smells fishy in a really, really good way. So, last but not least, I don't want to forget to tell you about that coconut milk. And that is, there's my container for it. It's about 2 cups of coconut milk, a standard 15-ounce can of anything, beans, coconut milk, peas, corn, is about 1.5 cups. So you're going to have 2 cups of coconut milk here. So you're going to have a cup left. Put it in your freezer because it freezes great. If when you bring it out and defrost it, it separates a little bit, just whiz it up in your high-speed blender. So buy any kind of coconut milk you want. Easiest to find is probably Thai Kitchen. You're going to find that all over the place. It's good coconut milk, but always buy whole coconut milk, not light coconut milk, because whole coconut milk is all coconut milk. Light coconut milk is 2 things, coconut milk and water, and so you're paying for water. Make your own light coconut milk if you want. Just use an equal part, 1 to 1. 1 cup coconut milk, 1 cup water if you want to make it light. For this, I've got so many other ingredients, and I also have so much liquid from my tomatoes. So last but not least, what I'm going to do, oh my gosh, this looks beautiful and it smells beautiful, is I'm going to take my soup off, and this should take about 20 minutes in total to cook. And what I have here is some lemon juice. So it's 2 lemons, and it gave me about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I'm going to start out by putting half of this lemon juice in here. Okay, and then I'm going to taste the soup. Oh my gosh. So this is a little more than half of the lemon juice. It was about 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm just looking in my measuring cup. So that looks like enough, and it also tastes like enough lemon juice. So here's what I will do to serve it up, and look at all that beautiful seafood. I'm just gonna put it right in this bowl like this. Ooh, that's better. That induction burner stopped making noise. Just like this. And then last but not least, it doesn't even need any more salt and pepper. I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of cilantro. And that is the South American inspired seafood soup. I hope you enjoy it.